What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Russell is 2 months old, so I thought I'd do a little 2-month baby update. I feel like I was gonna do a 1-month update, but literally it was just like the same as like a newborn, and so like literally nothing had changed. Like he's still just like a little guy who just like chills and doesn't do much, but at 2 months, he's got some changes, which is so exciting. I think he has started smiling, and they are like social smiles, and like I can get him to smile by like talking to him when he's in a good mood. That's probably my favorite thing, is that he has started smiling. We just barely got back from our 2-month well checkup, and so he just barely got measured and weighed and everything. He weighs about 13 pounds, 9.5 ounces, which is a lot bigger than Paisley weighed at this age. So he's in the 60th percentile for weight, the 55th percentile for length. So he's 23.1 inches long, which I think is big. It's bigger than Paisley. Like literally he's a lot bigger than Paisley was at this age. This is about how big Paisley was at about like 4 months. For his head circumference, he's in the 90th percentile. So he is just growing like a champ. And so with feeding, we are still breastfeeding, and he feeds every about 3 hours, except at night. He started giving me about 4 to 5 hour stretches, which are consistent. He gave me a 7-hour stretch one time, and then the next couple nights it was not like that, and then another random 7-hour stretch, and it was amazing for me. But I woke up and I was like terrified, so I was like, oh my gosh, like he slept longer. But the 4 to 5 hour stretches have been consistent the past like 5-ish days. There's a smile. Yeah, you know mama likes those. Like those stretches of sleep. But after like his 5-hour stretch, he'll usually do a 2-hour stretch. So that's the only downside, is he won't stay like asleep for longer than like 2 hours afterwards, which is fine because I'll take the longer stretch. What else? He's also started noticing like me or Aaron, and he's like heard my voice and he'll look towards me. And it's so cute. Like, just as a mom, like you love when your baby starts to like notice you and like smile at you, and just like notice like your voice is different from other people's voices. There's just like not a ton that changes in like the first couple months. But after the first couple months, like things change like crazy. He loves the car, so he loves car rides. He only really likes them if we're moving. And it's so fun. In the car, we have a mirror to look at him, and we have a mirror to look at Paisley. And Paisley's figured out how to look in the mirrors and look at him while she's in the car seat, and so she will just sit and stare at him in the car, and it keeps her entertained, and I think it's hilarious because she just loves to look at him. We've started doing like a bit of tummy time. He does not like tummy time. I think it's because of how big his head is. We put him on his tummy and he just like lays his head down, and like sometimes he'll lift it up just a little bit and then he'll put it back down. But when he like does tummy time like really well, like lifts up his head for a while, he gets really fussy because it's like, that was so much work. So we just do it for a few seconds at a time. But he is just a sweet baby. He's such a good sleeper. He only had his days and nights confused for probably the first couple of nights. The first night in the hospital, he slept really well through the night. Like he woke up every 2 to 3 hours to eat, but he like fell back asleep. And then we did have some second night syndrome where they just are kind of fussy and crying the whole night, just want to be with mom or dad the whole night. And so that was in the hospital. Second night was rough. I was so happy I brought my portable sound machine because that helped so much. He wanted to be held until like 3 or 4 in the morning the second night in the hospital, and that was rough, but we made it through. And then the night we got home from the hospital was actually probably the hardest night we've ever had. Paisley got sick and was throwing up all night, and thankfully my mom was there to take care of her, and he just would not go back to sleep after eating. And so I didn't know at the time that Paisley was sick when I went and gave Russell to my mom, and she took him for the night, and then Paisley started throwing up, and she was just taking care of both my babies. I was able to get my sleep back and be okay. I think that's the biggest thing for just having a baby. It's like if you can get your sleep in, you can function, in my opinion, a lot better. And so I was able to get my sleep that night because I wasn't able to get it the night before. Big yawn. So cute. But then after that night, he just would go back to sleep every single time after I'd feed him. And I think there's only been like 2 or 3 other nights in the whole 2 months, other than those nights, where he didn't go back to sleep right away and he had to be like rocked for a minute. So like literally he's just been a good sleeper. The biggest thing about him is that people comment on his hair all the time, and it's so funny because they comment about how like dark it is, and like because I'm a blonde and Paisley's is blonde, but the funny thing is when Paisley came out, she was dark too. So it'll be interesting to see what color his hair actually is, and if he keeps this. I don't know if he'll keep it. There's not a ton of like differences, I feel like, at 2 months. Like he really just is growing good, eating good. He's a good sleeper. We've been really good at like putting him down for naps, and a lot of the time he'll actually fall asleep on his own if he's like laying by himself. So we'll like put him down awake and he'll fall asleep on his own. We haven't really started any sort of schedule yet because I personally believe if you start a schedule, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed. And so instead of starting a schedule this early, we'll wait probably another month. The difference between like 2 months and 1 month is that he's been awake like way more. During like the first month, he was asleep a lot, all the time, just sleeping, but now he is like more awake. I think one of the things I was worried about having another baby was just like getting out of the house with 2 babies, especially because they're so close in age. Like Paisley's not at the age where she'll like stay by me, and so I have to like figure out how to like keep them both close to me. I have a double stroller, and I've also made it a point to like get out of the house and like not be afraid of getting out of the house. So once I was able to start lifting things again and carrying Paisley again, we've gone out of the house a lot, and honestly I think that's so good for like my mental health and just like my overall like well-being, is getting out of the house. And so we're not afraid to get out, and we go places all the time. It does take a lot longer, but I think it's worth it. And with him, depending on where we're going, what we're doing, a lot of times I'll wear him on my chest, and he loves that, and he literally just falls asleep. And that has been like one of the best things for me, is just like being able to wear him. And thankfully I haven't had to wear him too much at the house while I do stuff, because he's just such a good baby and doesn't mind just chilling by himself. He does have a witching hour, and so that's just like a time during the day, every single day, where he is just fussy. He doesn't like anything. He'll just cry. And usually that's between like 8:30 and like 10-ish at night. And he just cries a ton, wants to be held and bounced and everything. But other than that, he is literally just like chill all day long. Like him at 2 months, literally it's so similar to 1 month. He's just getting bigger. That is Russell at 2 months. Thanks for watching this video.